Captain Jai-Ho Park stood at his office window in the Earth Defense Force headquarters, staring at the sunset over Seoul. His grandfather's bow hung on the wall behind him, its wood dark with age but still beautiful. Next to it was an old quiver filled with arrows that his family had kept for generations. The calm evening shattered when his computer screen flashed red. "Captain Park, urgent message from Lunar Base." His assistant's voice came through the speaker. "Unknown ships just appeared past Mars orbit. They're heading straight for Earth." Jai-Ho rushed to his desk and opened the video feed. The space around Mars filled with strange ships that looked like silver teardrops. They moved faster than any human spacecraft he had ever seen. "Get me General Command," he ordered, keeping his voice steady even though his heart raced. Within minutes, the main screen lit up with faces of military leaders from around the world. "The alien fleet will reach Earth in 6 hours, someone reported. "They're not responding to any of our greeting messages." Just then, every screen in the room flickered. A face appeared. At least, Jai-Ho thought it was a face. The alien had purple skin that seemed to shimmer like metal and 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. "People of Earth," the alien spoke in perfect English. "I am Admiral Tix of the Stellar Confederation. Your planet has been chosen for integration into our empire. Surrender now, and we will be gentle rulers." Jai-Ho spoke up before anyone else could. "This is Captain Jai-Ho Park of the Earth Defense Force. We welcome peaceful contact with other civilizations, but we do not surrender to threats." Admiral Tix's upper eyes blinked. "You mistake this for a negotiation, Captain. We have studied your weapons. Your most powerful missiles cannot pierce our shields. Your primitive technology is nothing compared to our galactic might." As the alien spoke, Jai-Ho noticed something odd. Every time Admiral Tix's eyes moved across the screen, they kept darting to the wall behind Jai-Ho, to his grandfather's bow. The alien leader seemed nervous about it. That made no sense. "Perhaps we could meet in person," Jai-Ho suggested, watching carefully. "Show proper respect between military leaders." The alien commander shifted uncomfortably. "That will not be necessary. You have 1 hour to begin your surrender process. After that, we will demonstrate our power." The screen went dark. Immediately, the room burst into activity as generals and admirals began shouting orders and forming plans. But Jai-Ho kept thinking about how Admiral Tix had looked at the bow. He walked over and took it off the wall, feeling its familiar weight. His grandfather had taught him to shoot when he was young, saying that old ways still held power. Jai-Ho had kept practicing even after joining the modern military, finding peace in the ancient art. He grabbed his phone and called Dr. Hae-Nul Kim, the military's top historian. "Doctor, I need everything you have on traditional weapons, especially bows. And I need it fast." "Traditional weapons?" she asked, sounding confused. "Captain, we're about to face an alien invasion with technology centuries ahead of ours. What good could old bows do?" "The alien leader saw my grandfather's bow during our talk," Jai-Ho explained. "And something about it scared them. I don't know why yet, but that's the first crack I've seen in their confidence." He looked out his window again. The sun had set, and stars were appearing. Somewhere up there, the alien fleet was coming. But maybe, just maybe, Earth's oldest weapons still had a role to play. "One more thing, Doctor," he added. "Find Master Sung Min-Oh. If I'm right about this, we're going to need the best traditional weapons teacher in Korea." As he hung up, Jai-Ho picked up an arrow from his grandfather's quiver. The metal detectors never sensed these arrows. They were too simple, too basic to register. He wondered if alien sensors might have the same blind spot. His computer beeped. 55 minutes until the alien's deadline. Jai-Ho straightened his uniform and grabbed the bow and quiver. He had a strange feeling he'd need them soon. Whatever happened next, humanity would not go quietly into the night. Sometimes the old ways were the best ways, and his grandfather's bow felt more comforting at his side than any modern weapon. Dr. Hae-Nul Kim hadn't slept in 24 hours. She sat in her office at the Military Research Center, surrounded by old books about weapons and warfare. Her computer showed videos of the alien ships that now hung in Earth's sky like dark clouds. The aliens had destroyed an empty island as their demonstration, turning it to glass with their energy weapons. But they hadn't attacked any populated areas yet. They were waiting for something, and Newell needed to figure out what before it was too late. Dr. Kim, Taiwan Lee, the weapons specialist, burst into her office. He carried a strange metal box. "You need to see this." Newell rubbed her tired eyes. "What did you find?" "We captured this alien shield generator from a scout ship that crashed," Taiwan explained, putting the box on her desk. "But that's not the interesting part. Watch this." He took out his mobile phone and held it near the box. A small force field appeared, glowing blue. Then he picked up a wooden pencil from Newell's desk and moved it toward the shield. The pencil went right through. Newell sat up straight. "Do that again." Taiwan repeated the demonstration. Electronic devices triggered the shield, but simple objects passed through like it wasn't there. "They're shields," Newell whispered, her mind racing. "They only stop things with power signatures, things that their sensors recognize as weapons." She jumped up and started pacing. "They're so advanced, their technology doesn't even register simple physical objects as threats." She grabbed her phone and called Captain Park. When he answered, she could hear alarms in the background. "Captain, we found something big," she said. "Their shield technology has a huge weakness. It doesn't stop primitive weapons, anything without power or complex parts. That's why Admiral Tix looked scared when he saw your bow. Their whole empire might have this same blind spot." There was silence for a moment. Then Captain Park spoke. "Get to the main base right now, and bring everything you have on traditional Korean warfare." 30 minutes later, Newell stood in a conference room with Captain Park, Taiwan, and several military leaders. Master Sung Min-oh, the weapons teacher Captain Park had mentioned, stood in one corner, looking at the alien shield generator with great interest. "Show them," Newell said to Taiwan. He demonstrated the shield's weakness again, this time using different objects. Metal things with electronic parts couldn't pass through, but wood, stone, and simple steel went straight through the force field. "Our missiles can't touch them because they're too advanced," Newell explained. "But arrows, spears, stones, the alien shields don't even see them coming. They're literally too simple to stop." Master O stepped forward. He took a wooden arrow from the quiver Captain Park had brought and studied it. "So the old ways still have power," he said softly. "But we will need more than just a few bows and arrows." Captain Park nodded. "Dr. Kim, how quickly can you put together a list of every traditional weapon that might work?" "I already started," she said, pulling out her tablet. "Bows, crossbows, spears, slings, anything that doesn't need power to work. But we'll need to test each one to be sure. And we need warriors who know how to use them," Master O added. "I can teach, but we need time." Just then, the room's main screen lit up. Admiral Tix appeared, looking more angry than before. "Your time for peaceful surrender is over," the alien leader announced. "We begin our conquest in 12 hours. After the screen went dark, Newell looked at her notes. 12 hours isn't much time. "Then we better hurry," Captain Park said. He picked up his grandfather's bow and handed it to Master O. "How many people can you teach basic archery to in 12 hours?" Master O tested the bow's string. "Enough to surprise our purple friend up there," he said with a small smile. "Enough to show them why Earth's old weapons are still around after thousands of years." Newell gathered her research materials. They had 12 hours to turn Earth's modern soldiers into ancient warriors. Looking at the determination on everyone's faces, she felt a spark of hope. Sometimes the best solutions were the simplest ones, and she had a feeling they were about to prove that to the whole galaxy. Master Sung Min-oh stood in the middle of Seoul's largest sports stadium. The huge space, normally used for soccer games, now held hundreds of soldiers. Each one had a wooden bow in their hands. The morning sun was just rising, marking 6 hours until the alien attack would begin. Draw the bow like this, Master O demonstrated, pulling back the string. Feel the power in your shoulders. The bow is not just a weapon, it is an extension of your body. In the stands, Captain Jai-Ho Park watched with Dr. Hae-Nul Kim and Tae-Won Lee. More soldiers were arriving every minute as buses pulled up outside. "How many do we have now?" Jai-Ho asked. Hae-Nul checked her tablet. 800 trained with bows, 300 with spears, and 200 learning to use slings. She looked up at him. "But Master O says only about half of them are good enough to hit a target reliably." "Half is better than none," Tae-Won said. He held up a strange arrow he had been working on. "Look at this. I replaced the metal tip with stone. Pure stone, no metal at all. It should fly right through their shields." Down on the field, Master O walked among the soldiers, correcting their stance and grip. Most of them had never held a bow before today. But they learned quickly. They had to. Again, Master O called out. 600 bowstrings sang at once as arrows flew toward the targets. More arrows hit this time than missed. Master O nodded, looking pleased. Jai-Ho's phone buzzed. A text from Lieutenant Dae-Yeon Choi, who was training another group across the city. "You need to see this." 20 minutes later, Jai-Ho stood in a smaller training center. Dae-Yeon had gathered 50 Special Forces soldiers. They weren't using bows or spears. Instead, they practiced with simple wooden staffs. "Watch this," Dae-Yeon said. She turned on a captured alien shield generator they were using for practice. A soldier ran toward the blue force field, holding his staff. As soon as he reached it, he dropped and rolled, the wooden staff leading the way. It punched right through the shield, and the soldier followed through the gap before it could close. "The shields don't register the wood," Dae-Yeon explained. "And once something makes a hole, anything can follow through for a split second. We can get close enough to fight hand to hand." Jai-Ho watched as more soldiers practiced the move. "How did you figure this out?" Dae-Yeon smiled. Master O mentioned that his grandfather used to tell stories about Korean warriors who could slip through enemy defenses using just a stick. Turns out the same trick works on alien shields. Back at the stadium, Master O had moved on to teaching spear throwing. The wooden spears were simple, just straight poles with stone tips. But they flew true. "Your ancestors used weapons like these to defend their homes," Master O told the soldiers. "Today, you will use them to defend Earth." Tae-Won rushed up to Jai-Ho, holding his tablet. "Captain, look at the alien ships." The screen showed live footage from space telescopes. The alien fleet was moving, forming a new pattern. "They're getting ready," Jai-Ho said. He turned to Hae-Nul. "How much more time?" 3 hours, she answered. "Maybe less." Jai-Ho watched the soldiers training below. They weren't perfect, but they were learning. Simple weapons, simple moves, but sometimes that was all you needed. Master O walked up to join them. "They learn quickly," he said. "Their hearts are strong. Sometimes that matters more than perfect technique." "Will they be ready?" Jai-Ho asked. The old master picked up a bow and drew it smoothly. His arrow flew across the field and hit the center of a target. "They are Earth's warriors," he said. "They will be ready because they must be ready." He handed the bow to Jai-Ho. "Now show them their captain can shoot too. They need to see their leaders standing with them." Jai-Ho took the bow. The wood felt warm in his hands, alive with possibility. Above them, alien ships moved through space, their advanced weapons ready. But here on Earth, humans were remembering older ways of fighting, ways that might just save them all. He drew the bow and took aim. The arrow flew straight and true, striking next to Master O's. The soldiers cheered. For a moment, despite everything, Jai-Ho felt hope growing stronger. They would be ready. They had to be. Lieutenant Dae-Yeon Choi crouched behind a fallen tree in Seoul's Namsan Park. 20 of her best soldiers lay hidden nearby, each holding wooden bows and spears. Above them, an alien ship hung in the air like a giant silver teardrop. "Remember," she whispered into her radio, "wait for them to exit their ship. Their personal shields are weakest when they first activate." The alien ship's bottom opened, and purple-skinned soldiers floated down on beams of light. Their armor gleamed, and blue force fields shimmered around them. They carried weapons that looked like silver tubes. Daeyeon counted 30 aliens. They moved confidently, not bothering to check for threats. Why should they? Their scans showed no modern weapons in the area. She took a deep breath and pulled back her bowstring. The wooden arrow felt strong and true in her hands. Master O's training echoed in her mind. "Let the arrow become part of you." "Now," she called out. 21 arrows flew through the air. The aliens didn't even notice them coming. Their sensors ignored the simple wooden shafts. The arrows passed right through their shields like they weren't there. 15 aliens fell in the first volley. "Impossible," one of the alien leaders shouted. They fired back with their energy weapons, but Daeyeon's team had already rolled to new positions. "Second volley," Daeyeon ordered. More arrows flew, more aliens fell. The remaining aliens tried to retreat to their ship, but they had moved away from the light beams that brought them down. Daeyeon saw her chance. "Spears," she commanded. Her soldiers pulled out their stone-tipped spears. "Target the ship's opening." 10 spears soared through the air. The ship's shields, calibrated to stop energy weapons and missiles, didn't even flicker as the wooden spears passed through. They jammed into the opening mechanism, preventing it from closing. The alien commander started shouting orders in a panic. Their formation broke. Some ran for cover, others tried to shoot wildly at the trees. Daeyeon grabbed her wooden staff. "Close combat team. With me." She and 5 soldiers rushed forward, rolling under the alien energy blasts. Just as they had practiced, they used their wooden staffs to create momentary gaps in the alien shields. Once inside, the aliens' advanced armor offered little protection against simple wooden weapons. In less than 10 minutes, it was over. 20 humans with wooden weapons had defeated 30 aliens with advanced technology. Not one of Daeyeon's soldiers was seriously hurt. She pulled out her phone and called Captain Park. "Sir, Namsen Park is secure." The aliens never saw it coming. "Excellent work, Lieutenant," Jaiho replied. "How did their shields perform?" "Just like Dr. Kim predicted. They didn't stop a single arrow or spear. Their sensors don't register wood and stone as weapons at all." Daeyeon heard excitement in Jaiho's voice. "Perfect. Master O's teams are engaging them in 3 other locations. They're reporting the same results." Her soldiers were already collecting arrows and checking the fallen aliens' equipment. One of them called her over. "Lieutenant, look at this." The soldier pointed to an alien's broken helmet display. "Their targeting systems are completely automated. They don't even have manual aiming capabilities." Daeyeon understood. The aliens had relied on their technology for so long, they had forgotten the basic skills of warfare. They couldn't even aim without their computers helping them. She looked up at the alien ships still hovering over Seoul. They were starting to move erratically, clearly confused by what was happening on the ground. "Sir," she said into her phone, "request permission to move to Phase 2. We can take more of them." "Permission granted," Jaiho replied. "But be careful. They'll try to adapt once they figure out what's happening." Daeyeon smiled as she watched her soldiers prepare for the next fight. The aliens might have advanced technology, but humans had something better. They remembered the old ways. Sometimes the simplest solutions were the best ones. "Move out," she ordered. "Let's show them what else Earth's ancient weapons can do." As they moved through the trees, more alien ships appeared overhead. But Daeyeon wasn't worried. Her wooden bow felt strong in her hands, and her soldiers moved with quiet confidence. The aliens were about to learn another lesson about underestimating primitive weapons. Young Jae Kang stood in his workshop at the military base, surrounded by pieces of wood, stone, and carbon fiber. 3D printers worked nonstop behind him, creating perfect copies of ancient arrow designs. But these weren't exactly like the old arrows. They were better. "Look at this," he said to Captain Jae-ho Park, picking up a black arrow. Carbon fiber shaft, obsidian tip, turkey feather fletching. It's as simple as an ancient arrow, but twice as strong and perfectly balanced. Jae-ho tested the arrow's weight in his hand, and their shields still can't detect it. Not at all. We tested it this morning. Their sensors read it as background noise, just like a branch falling from a tree. Dr. Hae-Nul Kim burst into the workshop, holding her tablet. "The aliens are changing their shields," she announced. "They're trying to detect wood now." Young Jae smiled. "Show them what happened in the last test." Hae-Nul played a video. It showed an alien shield stopping wooden arrows, but the stone-tipped arrows still passed right through. "They can only adapt to one type of simple material at a time," she explained. "If they block wood, stone gets through. If they block stone, wood gets through. They can't stop everything without making their shields too power-hungry to maintain. That's why we're making these," Young Jae said. He walked to a large table covered with weapons. Multi-material arrows, stone tips, wooden shafts, bamboo fletching. Their shields would have to block all natural materials at once, which they can't do. He picked up another weapon, a modern compound bow made entirely of natural materials. No metal parts, but it's as powerful as any modern bow. "We're making hundreds of these." "How many weapons can you make?" Jae-ho asked. "With all the 3D printers in Seoul running these designs, thousands per day. We're also making spears, slings, and these." Young Jae pulled a sheet off a large object in the corner. It was a ballista, an ancient giant crossbow, but made with modern materials and engineering. "It can shoot a telephone pole-sized arrow through their ship hulls," Young Jae said proudly. "And since it's all wood and stone, their shields do nothing." Dr. Kim's tablet beeped again. "The aliens are pulling their ground troops back," she reported. "They're switching to air attacks only." "They're learning," Jae-ho said. "But so are we." He turned to Young Jae. "How soon can you get these weapons to our forces?" "First batch goes out in an hour. Lieutenant De Yin's teams get the new arrows first. Then we supply Master O's training groups." Just then, they heard a deep humming sound. The alien ships were moving again, gathering over the city center. "They're planning something big," Hae-Nul said, watching her tablet's readings. "Their ships are charging up some kind of energy weapon." Young Jae rushed to a cabinet and pulled out a strange-looking arrow. Its shaft was made of twisted wood and stone, woven together like a rope. "Then it's time to test this. The materials are so mixed together, their sensors can't recognize what it is at all." "What does it do?" Jae-ho asked. "It carries a simple copper wire behind it. Once it's through their hull, our electrical weapons can follow the wire right through their shields. We use their blind spot to create a gateway for our modern weapons." Hae-Nul looked up from her tablet, eyes wide. "That's brilliant. They'd never expect us to combine primitive and modern technology like that." Young Jae handed the arrow to Jae-ho. "Humanity's oldest weapons, made with humanity's newest knowledge. Let's show them what Earth's engineers can do." Jae-ho carefully took the arrow. "Get these distributed as fast as you can. And Young Jae." He paused at the door. "Keep innovating. The aliens think they know what we can do with simple weapons. Let's keep surprising them." As they left, Young Jae turned back to his workbench. More designs filled his computer screen, ancient weapons reimagined with modern science. The aliens might have advanced technology, but humans had something more powerful: the ability to learn from the past while creating the future. He picked up another prototype arrow and smiled. Sometimes the best way forward was to take a step back first. and Earth was about to show the galaxy just how dangerous that combination could be. Captain Jeho Park watched the rising sun from the top of Seoul Tower. 5 alien ships hung in the sky above the city, their silver surfaces glowing orange in the morning light. Around him, 200 archers lay hidden, their new carbon fiber bows ready. "All teams report in," he said quietly into his radio. "Team 1 ready." Lieutenant De Yin's voice came through. Her soldiers were hiding in office buildings with the special wire-carrying arrows. "Team 2 in position." Master O reported from the river area. He had the new ballistas, their wooden arrows as big as trees. "Team 3 standing by," Young Jae said from his position near the stadium. His group had the slings and spears, waiting to attack any aliens that tried to land. Jeho looked at his tablet. Dr. Hae-Nul Kim had mapped out the alien ships' weak points based on their earlier battles. The bottom sensors were the most vulnerable. They never expected attacks from below. "Begin Operation Thunderstorm," Jeho ordered. Master O's team fired first. The huge ballista arrows shot up with incredible power. They passed right through the alien shields and punched holes in the ship's hulls. The aliens never saw them coming. Their sensors still couldn't detect the simple wooden projectiles. The ship started to move, trying to dodge. But now it was De Yin's turn. "Wire arrows away," she called. Her archers fired the special arrows Young Jae had made. They pierced the ship's hulls, trailing thin copper wires behind them. "Now, Hae-Nul," Jeho commanded. From hidden positions around the city, electrical pulse generators powered up. The energy followed the copper wires, bypassing the alien shields completely. 3 ships lost power immediately, their lights flickering out. The remaining 2 ships tried to fire their energy weapons, but they were confused. Their sensors showed no technology attacking them, just pieces of wood and stone flying through the air. They couldn't target what their computers didn't recognize as weapons. "All archers, fire at will," Jeho ordered. Hundreds of arrows flew up from every direction. Each one was made of different materials: wood, stone, bamboo, obsidian. The alien shields tried to adapt, but they could only block one type of material at a time. Most arrows got through. One ship tried to escape upward. Master O was ready. "Ballista teams, take the shot," he said calmly. 4 giant arrows hit the rising ship at the same time. It spun out of control and had to land. As soon as it touched down, Young Jae's teams attacked with spears and slings. "Their ground shields are failing," Young Jae reported excitedly. "They're using too much power trying to block different materials." The last flying ship turned to run, but Jeho had planned for this. Hidden in the clouds, helicopters dropped nets made of vines and wooden poles. They tangled in the ship's engines, which couldn't detect the simple materials to avoid them. "Lieutenant De Yin, finish it," Jeho ordered. De Yin's archers fired their remaining wire arrows. More electrical pulses followed the wires up, and the last ship lost power. It landed roughly in the river. In less than 15 minutes, Earth had won its first major battle against the alien fleet. Not one building in Seoul had been destroyed. Not one defender had died. Jeho's radio crackled. "Captain, you need to see this," Hae-Nul called. "We're picking up massive energy readings from space. More ships are coming." "How many?" Jeho asked, already planning the next move. "At least 30. They'll be here in 2 hours. Jeho smiled. "Good. Young Jae has 10,000 new arrows ready. Master O has trained 500 more archers. And now we know our plan works." He looked at the fallen alien ships. Their mighty shields, designed to stop the most advanced weapons in the galaxy, had been defeated by sticks and stones. "Send a message to all Earth Defense Forces," he ordered. "Tell them what we learned here. The aliens think they know what weapons look like. Let's keep teaching them how wrong they are." Around him, his soldiers gathered their simple weapons, ready for the next fight. Sometimes the best way to move forward was to remember what worked in the past. Earth was ready to teach that lesson to the whole galaxy. Dr. Hae-Newell Kim stood in a captured alien ship, surrounded by strange screens and blinking lights. Young Jai worked beside her, connecting his tablet to the alien computer systems. They had been studying the ship for hours, trying to understand why Earth's ancient weapons worked so well against alien technology. "Look at this," young Jay said, pointing to his screen. "I found their weapon development history." Newell leaned closer. The alien text was being translated into Korean by their computers. Her eyes grew wide as she read. "Captain Park needs to see this right now," she said, reaching for her phone. 30 minutes later, Captain Jai-Ho Park and Lieutenant Daeyeon Choi joined them in the alien ship. Master O came too, carrying one of his wooden bows. "What did you find?" Jai-Ho asked. Newell pointed to the main screen. The Stellar Confederation banned all physical weapons 3,000 years ago. They thought energy weapons were more civilized. She made a face at the word. They stopped teaching their soldiers how to fight with anything else. That's why their targeting systems are so bad, Daeyeon realized. They never learned to aim manually. They let computers do everything. "There's more," Young Jai added. He touched some alien controls, bringing up new images. They developed their shields to stop energy weapons because that's all anyone in the galaxy uses. Nobody has used a physical weapon against them for thousands of years. Master O nodded slowly. "They forgot the old ways," he said. "And in forgetting, they became weak." Newell pulled up more alien records. Their entire military doctrine is based on energy weapons and computer targeting. They don't even have words for bow or spear in their modern language anymore. "But why didn't they adapt?" Jai-Ho asked. "They must have fought other civilizations before." "They did," Hae-Newell pointed to another screen. "But every civilization they met followed the same path. As societies developed energy weapons, they abandoned physical ones. The aliens thought this was the natural way of progress." Young Ja laughed. "They never met humans before. We don't abandon old tools that work. We make them better." Daeyeon picked up one of their new arrows. "Like these, carbon fiber and obsidian, made with modern methods, but based on designs thousands of years old." "Earth is unique," Hae-Newell said excitedly. "We're the only civilization they've found that kept our traditional weapons alongside our new ones. We know how to fight both ways." Just then, Jai-Ho's phone beeped. A message appeared. The 30 alien ships they had detected were almost here. "Can they adapt their shields to stop our weapons?" he asked. Hae-Newell shook her head. "Their shield technology is too specialized. To stop simple physical objects, they'd have to rebuild their entire defense system from scratch. That would take years. And even then," Young Jai added, "they'd have to teach their soldiers how to fight without computers, how to aim and shoot manually. Skills we never stopped teaching." Master O walked to a window, looking at the sky where the alien ships would soon appear. "When you forget your roots," he said quietly, "you lose more than just old knowledge. You lose the wisdom of why that knowledge mattered." Jai-Ho stood beside him. How many armies in human history fell because they thought their new weapons made them invincible? "Too many to count," Hae-Newell answered. "But we learned from those mistakes. We kept the old ways alive, just in case we needed them again." Daeyeon's phone buzzed. Her teams were in position around the city with their bows and spears, ready for the next battle. "Should we send this information to other Earth defense forces?" she asked. "Yes," Jai-Ho decided. "Every army on Earth has traditional weapons in their history. Let them all know. Sometimes the oldest solutions are still the best ones." They left the alien ship together, ready to face the coming battle. Above them, the sky was growing darker as more alien ships approached. But now they understood why they had a chance to win. The aliens had forgotten that progress didn't mean abandoning the past. It meant building on it. And Earth was about to remind the whole galaxy of that lesson. 1 month after the first Battle of Seoul, Captain Jai-Ho Park, stood in a large meeting room at the United Nations building in New York. Admiral Tix sat across the table, looking much less confident than during their first meeting. Behind Jai-Ho hung his grandfather's bow, now famous across Earth and beyond. The Stellar Confederation agrees to recognize Earth as an independent world, Admiral Tix said, his purple skin shifting uncomfortably. We also agree to share our technology in exchange for knowledge of your traditional warfare methods. Jai-Ho smiled. After Earth's forces had defeated the second wave of ships using bows, spears, and ballistas, the aliens finally understood they couldn't win. Every human army had pulled out their traditional weapons, combining them with modern tactics. The aliens' mighty fleet had no defense against arrows and spears they couldn't even detect. We accept, Jai-Ho said. Dr. Hae-Nul Kim, sitting beside him, began signing the treaty documents. Lieutenant Da-Yeon Choi stood guard by the door, her carbon fiber bow close at hand. Master O had taken the past month to train alien soldiers in basic archery. They were horrible at it. Centuries of relying on computers had left them without any natural fighting skills. There's one more thing, Admiral Tix said. Our scientists still can't understand how you defeated our shields. They were the most advanced in the galaxy. Young Ja Kang, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. That was your problem, he said. You only looked forward, never backward. You forgot that simple solutions often work best. We thought advancing meant leaving the past behind, Admiral Tix admitted. We were wrong. After the meeting, Jai-Ho walked through Central Park with his team. Other aliens were there too, watching in amazement as humans practiced archery and martial arts in the park. They're like children discovering old toys, Da-Yeon said, watching an alien try to throw a spear. They have to learn everything from the beginning. Hae-Nul checked her tablet. Reports are coming in from around the world. Every country is starting programs to preserve their traditional fighting arts. Museums are turning into training centers. And the aliens? Jai-Ho asked. Scared, Yum Ja laughed. Every alien civilization is rushing to learn old fighting methods. They finally understand that relying only on advanced technology made them vulnerable. They stopped at a small coffee shop. Through the window, they could see news reports from around the world. In China, soldiers trained with ancient crossbows. In Mongolia, horse archers practiced their skills. In Greece, people learned to use spears like their ancestors. Earth has changed the galaxy, Master O said quietly. He had joined them after finishing his training session with alien students. We showed them that the old ways still have power. Not just the old ways, Jai-Ho corrected. The combination of old and new. That's humanity's real strength. Hae-Nul's tablet beeped. The Confederation is asking for teachers, experts in traditional weapons and fighting styles. They're offering advanced technology in exchange. Will you go? Jai-Ho asked Master O. The old teacher smiled. Someone must teach them. They have much to learn. He looked up at the sky, where alien ships now peacefully shared space with Earth satellites. But first, they must unlearn their dependence on machines. As the sun set, Jai-Ho thought about his grandfather's bow, now hanging in the UN building. What would his grandfather think, knowing his old bow had helped save Earth? That the simple weapons he had loved had defeated the most advanced technology in the galaxy. Earth's strength was never in just our technology, he said to his friends. It was in remembering where we came from while looking forward to where we're going. Da-Yeon raised her coffee cup. To the old ways and the new, she said. And to never forgetting either. They all raised their cups. Above them, stars began appearing in the darkening sky. But now those stars didn't look threatening. They looked like opportunities, chances to teach the galaxy that progress didn't mean forgetting the past. It meant building on it, learning from it, and sometimes, when needed, picking up an old bow and remembering that the simplest solutions were often the best ones.